Sorry, I forgot to turn on my microphone. Okay, now is my microphone on? I don't know. Okay, so it is on ish. Okay, huh. Now is my microphone working? I don't know. And I okay, so that's working, and my microphone is working. So yeah, I remember what I had to do. Yep, pop that out, make it its own thing. Okay. No, there we go. Okay, so, okay, this is happening and that is happening. So, like, really, since I even started reading this book, the Ethiopian Bible, something keeps telling me to stop reading it. And then I was watching a live stream earlier. Neo, her live stream. Neo. So I was watching her. And she was on there with Mr. Bill Donahue. I think I'm the only one that calls him that. But he really doesn't even know me. He's come in my chat a couple times. You should go check him out. He's highly educated. Um, but he's highly educated on the Bible. I recommend him. And also, Neo. I am not sure how to pronounce her name. I think it's Neo. Neyyo. Neo. Something like that. But anyway, I was watching her live stream and they were talking about things that related to how I'm feeling about reading this Ethiopian Bible. Okay, that's super loud. But reading this Ethiopian Bible, I don't want to do it. Highlight foot, yeah, I don't want to do it. I don't want to read it anymore. And it's mostly because it's stupid. I don't want to read it because it's stupid. Why is it stupid? Because it doesn't fit with anything. And the first book, Jubilees, like I've been saying, is like a fucking victim statement, a lying victim statement. And I'm not saying that all victims deserve it, but these are crimes of passion, violations of passion, because God just feels some kind of way. And again, like I've said before, God is like Johnny Depp, and these people are like Amber Heard in this situation. Like she's completely unbearable. These people are completely unbearable. And they do things to God in his face, and he reacts to it. It is crimes of passion. But see, the thing is God lets them get away with it for a long time. But then they just finally have sex at his feet and he gets totally offended. Like, what? That's so gross. And then kicks the shit out of him. And really, Neo, hey, come in. Is she coming in? Come in, please. Pretty, please. I want to know how to say her name. Oh, well, I want to know how to say it properly. But anyway, I was watching her stream. And like I was saying, this Ethiopian Bible, it starts out everything bad God's ever done. Penlu! Look, Neo. Is it Neo or Neo? But it's spelled like Neo. So I'm not sure how to say your name. Penlu, I love you. Listen, I told you before, Neo, in your chat, that I've been having trouble knowing what to do, and I think your stream fixed it because I have been in a toss up about reading this Ethiopian Bible. I'm trying to do it because I paid $18 for it. I should read it, but it's terrible. And it's like a fantasy novel. It's not true. Like it's not true. And I'm having a hard time. Okay. But Neo, um your stream, it helped me figure it out. And like this Ethiopian Bible, it's I don't want to say it's too much for me, but it's fucking bullshit. And I can't do it. Even though I paid a lot. They bought this for me for Christmas. It was a $20 version. It don't even have everything in it. I've only read like 8 chapters of Jubilee, which is the Jew journal, and I couldn't get through it because it it starts as a victim statement, everything bad God's ever done to them. Then it goes to Exodus, then it goes to Jacob, and then it goes to Genesis. And it's like, no, this is not real. So then now I'm reading the book of Enoch, and it's written in the same language they use in Exodus. But this is supposed to be pre flood because this is Noah's great grandfather. So he died before the flood or died in the flood. How the fuck did they get this book? No one knows. And then but it's written in the language of the Exodus. It has commandments in there, it has defilements in there. It has a whole bunch of fucking bullshit in there that had nothing to do with nothing. And then they also the people who wrote the Jew journal said they were helping God before they ever even existed. And it's like, you fucking people didn't exist. If Adam is the father of all people, right? They couldn't have existed. And that's a real problem that I have with this book. They inject themselves in everything, even shit they weren't alive for. They weren't even a people at that point. How did they do that? No one knows. they made it the fuck up. So then, knowing this in my head, I stopped reading Jubilees because it's just, this shit didn't exist. What the fuck are they doing? So then I'm reading Enoch, but it's written in the language that they used in Exodus. And I was having a real hard time about, do I keep trying to read this fantasy novel or do I go back to the Old Testament, which is what I'm good at? I said I stay away from the New Testament. I believe the story of Jesus. I've read it 3 times, but I do not believe the books of Paul or the books of Acts because it starts with a lie. Mary was not with Jesus through his journey. She was there for the Sermon on the Mount. And then he said he didn't even know her. But that's my opinion. Don't get offended. That's just what I think. And it's because I know the Old Testament so well. And I feel like I know Jesus, you know. And I'm not a Christian. If anything, I'm not really anything. I'm just a God guy. I'm God's friend. So I read his unofficial biography for fun on camera. But can I tell you, hey Firefly, how are you? You can't even see Firefly. I'll let you see Firefly. There she is. So, Neo, can I tell you what happened to me? Like, I'll tell you what happened to me. Okay. So, I got beat up pretty bad. Okay. And I got a lot of brain injuries and all. Well, anyway, a bunch of shit happened to me and I was in a coma for like a month and a half. And I didn't know that because I was in a coma. I woke up from my coma, the day Tom Petty died, October 2nd. Okay. A day after my daughter's birthday. And um when I was in the coma, I was in ghetto heaven. You could draw on the floor with sticks. It was awesome. But anyway, a dude walked in the doorway, and you can't see him or whatever. But I immediately knew it was him. And a lot of people say Jesus shows them the end of the world. He didn't even get a chance to do that. I hugged him and immediately woke up from the coma. And I was fucked up for a long time. But then I moved down here to Ohio and doesn't work third shift. And I was listening to a lot of people talking about the Bible. And it's like, oh, these motherfuckers are getting all this shit wrong. And then before I know it, it's in my head. Read the Bible out loud on camera. Read the Bible out loud on camera. And I said no. Okay. I said no. And then God made my life very, very, very difficult. So finally, I made my first video. And I needed a deep freezer and I needed a few things around the house or whatever. Did you know we got the deep freezer for free? We got a couch. We had to throw it away because bed bugs, we got bed bugs for letting people in the house that shouldn't be in the house. So anyway, we had to get rid of that. We all have chairs now. We don't have couches anymore. But we did get a free couch. We got a free deep freezer. We got, well, Dustin got this giant ass TV. It's as big as a wall for $1,000. It's like a $1,500 TV. And he got it for $1,000. So since I've been making videos 8 years. I just recently started live streaming, so I'm really bad at it. But my my thing with the Old Testament, because that's the only book I read, is the Old Testament. Like, I feel like God wants the story out there. He wants people to understand it. And in the Bible, I don't remember what book, but it specifically says, read the book in the way the people understand. He wants all people to understand. And I think he has me doing it because I'm brash, I'm embarrassing, and I'm argumentative. And I argue with God a lot reading this book as Firefly. I have I'm like, God, what the fuck were you thinking? And then God's always like, I don't fucking know. I was just doing things because God has super ADHD. It's a real problem. And uh, they don't make God sized Prozac. So there's that. I I don't know if that really means anything or anything, but God has helped me a lot do this. Reading the Bible, half the time I don't even know what's going on, but He wants people to know what happened. That's why He's making you do it. That's why He's making Mr. Bill Donahue do it. That's why He's making other people in the truth community do it, because He wants people to know. People don't know. People are so scared of the Bible because hellfire and brimstone. Did you know that's not mentioned in the Old Testament but one time? Yeah. Did you know that? It's only mentioned one time. And it's not even like really a thing. God does kick people's asses a lot of times. But at the end of the day, they deserve it because what the fuck were they thinking? And then, like, God doesn't say anything about hurting children. He doesn't say anything about he says the exact opposite of what the Mormons believe. He says the exact opposite of what a lot of these Christian religions do. The Old Testament vehemently disagrees with all of that shit. And like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say God is making me do what I do, and He made me promise I would do what I do. And I think He's calling other people to do what they do. Like the shy people, the people that normally don't say anything, the people that don't know what's going on. Because it's like Jesus said, it's about the individual. It's about the individual. The individual changes the minds of the people around them. It's the individual that matters. You are a light in the room you are in. You're not a light in a room full of lights, because that's fucking counterproductive and stupid. You go in the darkness and you bring your light, because that's exactly what Jesus did. And did any of those motherfuckers misbehave around Him? No, the fuck they didn't. They pretended to be good people. because Jesus was the example. Jesus was the individual that changed the mind of many. And that's what he's telling his disciples to do, his apostles, his imposters. That's what he was showing them. I've read this story of Jesus 3 times. It makes me cry every time. I hate it. It's the funniest and most knowledgeable books in the Bible, and they're totally worth reading. And they are hilarious. Look, they are hilarious. And a lot of people tell this Sermon on the Mount wrong. But Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount was talking about people like us who know the church is wrong, who speak out against the church, the poor in spirit, the people that don't fit into the church. Those are the ones Jesus was after. Those are the ones that Jesus was with. Because, like Jesus said, the healthy don't need a fucking doctor. If you think you're fine, then you're fine. And go the fuck away. You're not helping. I'm going to stay here and help the weirdos. That's what I call the people that hang out here in the party pen. Weirdos. Because we are the weirdos that don't fit in. We are the sheep dressed like wolves. And I rode dog, and I have to bounce away. Kitty cat is back. Right. Okay. See ya. Uh, but anyway, I guess I was saying that for no reason. I don't know. I guess. But anyway, Jesus was after the individuals. Those are the people that matter. The people that aren't a light in a room full of lights. Because that's what all the Christians are. They are lights in a room full of lights. They need to spread their light into the darkness so the darkness becomes light. And that is one of the reasons I don't read the New Testament, because Paul says the exact opposite of that. He says, be a light in a room full of lights. Only hang out with those people. Is the exact opposite of what Jesus said. And I have a problem with that. Love seeing your natural. Thank you. And what's going on is I can't I God is telling me not to read this Ethiopian Bible anymore. And because it's just so, I don't know how to explain it. It's just, and I don't have that much of an inquisitive mind, I guess, to know what this says to finish the story. I don't care. It's not. I feel like it's not worth knowing. I don't know. Hi, Kelso. I don't know, but if anybody's still here, tell me what you think. Like, do you think that it's worth knowing what this book says? Like, Miss Muddy wants to know what it says about Jesus. And there is some New Testament books in here. But, like, if what they're saying about the Old Testament is this much of a lie, and what Paul does in the New Testament, is it going to be like that? Because we all know I don't know. I maybe it's just because I feel the urge all the time to read the Old Testament. Like I always want to read the Old Testament. Read the Stop with the our Lord Jesus. And I do read the King James Version. And I do read that. I got my Bible from Dustin off Amazon. And I think New King James Version. Yeah, that's what I have. And I have the old King James Version also that says the same thing as this one. I've read both of them and they say the same thing. But I don't know any other book will deceive you. They say the same thing. I have both versions. And I know the language of the King James Version better than I know the language of any other Bible. So that's what I read, but they say the same thing. I've read them both. They say the same thing, just in different and word magic. The King James Version is written in word magic. The New King James Version is also written in word magic, just easier and understandable word magic. This book is magic. And all the books, they all give an illusion. All the books in the Bible give an illusion. They all give some kind of vision of the past. You just got to be able to read through and see the story yourself, you know. Like as you read the story, visualize it, and then it'll give you all the context. Or at least that's how I do it. That's how I get through the Bible. And I'm usually right. Sometimes I may be a little off, a little bit, but not really. But again, the Old Testament is what I'm good at. I'm good at the Old Testament because I'm uh, creative, I guess, sort of. I'm good with words. Yeah, they're kind of translated different. The King James Version is translated first, and then the New King James Version was translated second and an easier way to read. Once the people learned how to read, they made the Bible easier to read. But they still tell people how scary it is. They're like, the Bible's so scary. And the Bible's not that scary. And I was scared of it. I was intimidated by the Old Testament. Once I got to reading it, it's like, oh, this book is hilarious. These people are so fucked up. I don't know. But that's what I think. And I don't want to push I don't want to push my thoughts into your head. That's not what I want to do. I just want to give a different thought that maybe your head never thought of before. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, the decision is left up to you to decide. But read it, you know, read it before you actually decide anything. Like, don't decide that I'm totally right because I read it to you out loud and that's a good enough. No. Go back and read it for yourself. I could be wrong. I'm usually not wrong, but I could be wrong. And you will never know if I'm wrong unless you read it. And that's not a Bible hustle. I don't even have a Bible you could buy. But it is like one of those research for yourself. Like with Q, do your own research. Listen to what I say. We'll make sure I'm right. Like, I want to have a Bible study. I do. I want to read and I want people to discuss it with me. But I do my streams so late at night that nobody wants to talk about it. But when I go early like this, nobody shows up. So it's kind of weird. Like I want to do this, but nobody shows up. I want to do it earlier, but nobody shows up. But if I do it late, a lot of people show up, but nobody wants to talk about it. When the whole point was to talk about it. I don't know. Road Dog, what do you think? Hi, Sheriff Hector. I think is it Dustin's playing Helldivers. Nothing. No one. Everybody leave. Everybody left. Okay. Well, cool. That means I can leave too. It looks like people are watching though. You should come in the chat so I can know what you think. I would, I don't know. Where are you at, Road Dog? I'm going to put your sticker up and then maybe you'll show up. No. Okay. Oh, yeah, well, yeah, it's work time, ain't it? Okay. I guess I'm going to go ahead and leave. I want to tell y'all, have the greatest day ever. Possibly get laid sometime today. I love you. Why is my voice cracking? Anyway, I love you, and I will see you later.